What's up, everyone? Belligerent here with another Bloodline video, and I think it's about time for another tier list. I know I just kind of put out a different type of tier list where we rated the classes, but it's been quite a while since I actually did just kind of the good old-fashioned tier list. I know a lot of people like to see the tier list, and I know I get a lot of comments about how happy people are when I put out the tier list because I know other people in the community are hesitant to put out tier lists. Maybe they're not a fan of tier lists. I'm not entirely a huge fan of tier lists, but I think they're important. I think if you use a tier list for the right thing, such as a guide rather than just the be all end all, can kind of put you in the right direction. Now, recently, kind of under the radar without talking to too many people about it, I have been testing out some champions, kind of off meta champions, playing around, seeing what else I could do besides just the norm. So in doing so, like, I found some things that still don't work, but I have found some things that I think, uh, are potentially meta changing, uh, are potentially just give more options. So this tier list is going to look a little different than usual. Um, so just keep that in mind. Hopefully you stick with me through the whole thing. There are a lot of champions in the game now. I'm not including the parade clan because I just don't have any experience with them, so I'm not going to put them in here. But we have everybody prior to the parade clan in here. All right. And these are just, I mean, I don't think they're in any, oh, they're actually in release order, I think, except for a couple of them that are out of order here. Um, but we're just going to go through them in the order they show up here. This is really kind of no particular order. So let's jump into it. I'll try and make it brief, but I'm going to give some explanations. This is probably going to be a little bit longer of a video, or probably about my average time. I'm going to try and go through it as quickly as possible, though. So we have male Sallyhorn, and I've been playing with him a lot recently, and I really just like some of the things that he's bringing to the table. When you really pay attention to how to position him, when you think about how he stuns people, um, his shield, and with things like vigor and steadfast combined with his ability to deflect damage, he can actually put out quite a bit of damage if you soup him up, put vigor on him, and then make sure he can survive the attacks. But he has that that passive, and I believe his shield does it also, will actually reflect damage. And then you can even couple that with, I believe it's the Karguk clan trait that also, it's one of the orcs, either the Karguk or Ugrul, that have that clan trait that also gives him the ability to deflect damage. So right now I'm putting male Sallyhorn in S tier. So then we have female Sallyhorn, who I have never really been a huge fan of, but I've been spending time with, again, some of these off meta champions, and I really like what I have seen in her. I'm gonna put her in the A. Yeah, I think A would be good there. Um, she Now that I'm kind of understanding how to use her ultimate, that big jump in the air and the big boom on the ground, like, it can cause some disruption, and it can cause some damage if you build her with the right traits. We'll probably make a video a little bit later with some of those traits and really tell you, some of the secrets that I've seen here. Just honestly, just messing around with traits and just trying to think outside the box and think outside the norm. So, Karg, I've always suspected male Karg, his active ability with the pyro, I'm sorry, with the burn, could be good in a pyro comp. And so on one of my accounts, I built up a male Karg. I put him with a pyro comp with, like, both of the Ignises and a couple of others the with the pyromancer trait. So it was a full pyro comp, and I've done a video on the pyro comp before. Karg's usually rate pretty bad. Um, I'm gonna actually put him in the A because he fit in really well and he actually contributed very good to that pyro comp that I had. Okay. Um, Female Karg, unfortunately, still just kind of bad. Um, Male Trevane, like I'm putting him up in the double S tier. His root on his active is very consistent, and when you couple him up with champions that can take advantage of his root and in a stun comp, so he gets rooted, he gets stunned, uh, and people just kind of just don't move and they get stuck. Like he can be really strong. Plus the armor shred on his ultimate is really it. I think it's underrated, honestly. I don't think people really think about the shred on his ultimate. So he's been a beast for me lately, just carrying pretty hard. And yeah. So female Trevane, though, still just going to stick in B. I feel like she's just kind of a boss boss champion at this point, and even then, not the best. Like there are better ways to get damage on bosses than her. So, you know, when I think about this, like I feel like B is even a little high for her. I'm just gonna move her to C. All right. So male Yiv, I've long been a fan of male Yiv. Um, However, he's kind of just fallen out of the meta lately. There are now champions such as female Goldtongue and female Snake and stuff like that that are just better than what he does with the energy drain. Um, so I'm not feeling Yiv anymore. I'm just putting him down at the bottom. I don't think anybody should play him at this point. It's not. I think I held on to that. Um, I think I held on. I waved that flag too long, I guess. Probably the best way to say it there. All right, let's see if we can jump through some of these a little bit quicker because I'm kind of going too long and too many of them. I think some of them should be just self explanatory. Like female Yiv, she's a monster. Um, she can do a lot of damage. She can clean up enemies that are being obnoxious, low on health. So we're putting her up there. Male Karguk, if you have ever boosted him up and put some vigor on him and just let him do his ultimate where he gets the damage reduction and he hits everybody for, I think it's like 650% damage at max. And, with the vigor stacked on top of it, he just gets so much healing back. Like it's a little bit crazy there. Um, Female Karguk with her stun has actually been working really well for me again in a stun comp, kind of with the other people that just really learning how to, I've just spending more time figuring out how to build these comps and who works well with who. Like it's really eye opening. For the longest time when it came to the Ignis clan, female Ignis was always my go to, but now we have other tools in the game. We have things like female Samir. We have other things like male Snake. We have other things like female Tree who can kind of lock everybody down and hold them into place. So it's a lot easier to group champions all into the same place. And his ultimate is so strong as opposed to female Ignis. It feels really weak at this point. Um, so then another one of the things that I kind of challenged myself on, I have long since said that male Lux was the worst champion in the game. And so I challenged myself to see if I could really use him. Um, and it wasn't as successful as I wanted, but it actually it has a unique way to work where you can isolate like their strongest character, take them out of the game, let your team go 4v5 or 5v4, I guess, and just kind of take out the rest of the team while the other one has to stay there. So souping him up, making sure you level up his skills. He's actually rose a couple of tiers there for me. Female Lux, look, that ultimate is just, it's still so bad. Like, I don't even, I know there are people that are fans about this, and I know because, like I said, I've been testing a lot of things lately, and these are outside the norm of what I think most people say. I'm going to get a lot of arguments on this tier list. I know people like Lux. That charm just doesn't really do much for me. So, anyway, male Zace, his ultimate, his silence is bonkers, and female Zace isn't far behind him, but you have to just build her straight damage, no energy, none of that stuff, because it's really her active that blows people up, and if you build it right, she does insane amounts of damage. Female Ugrel, or I'm sorry, male Ugrel. Um, he actually, if you put some resources into him, his ultimate where he does this like X slash with his, it can literally just one shot everybody. And so if you put the right traits on him, you put enough vigor on him, like he just kind of run around and he chop, he'll do his ultimate, which makes him CC immune, by the way, and he'll do this X slash on a target, and it's like a one shot, and then he runs over to the next one and he just one shots him again. It's really kind of insane to see. Female Rugal, on the other hand, she's not queen of the warriors anymore. She just doesn't really have a place. Um, the Crit Master himself, I'm gonna put up here. Plus, he has that cleanse. The cleanse is really good, better than I used to give it credit for. Uh, but a lot of it's his ability to buff himself, get that crit, and then he has that active where he's firing 5 arrows that are all critting all at the same time. Um, the female, however, I still haven't had a whole lot of success with. She does fit in well, especially now with the new clan, the parade. Their clan trait, if you get everybody running attack slow, she can fit into one of those comps. So I don't have her quite as bad as I used to. But yeah, she's good. Uh, all right, male Aeson. He's just really bad right now. We have better shields and steadfast. And steadfast itself, even after the steadfast nerf, uh, steadfast, if it was nerfed, I still think that's up for some debate. But steadfast makes his active irrelevant. We don't need his shield. We get steadfast. Steadfast itself has kind of neutralized the nuke meta, so he just doesn't offer a whole lot. And frankly, 30% strength buff, it just isn't enough anymore. Like, you can get that from so many other ways. So, female Aeson, on the other hand, I'm gonna put her in the mid tier here. She's still not super good in um, in like the campaign modes or PvP, but where she is really good is Dungeon Descent. Because you can get those items that just make her constantly repeat her heal. And she does have the strongest single target heal in the game. If you can get that to repeat, throw in like a female loom that's constantly making her repeat her ultimate, like nobody ever dies in the dungeon there. So male Doom, I've been super digging male Doom. His knockback is clutch to kind of what I've been talking about, which is grouping everybody together. You put that together with a root, you put that together with the Zace silence, and then the male Ignis can finish that off with his you know like single area but large attack, and it can just blow people up. The knockback from Doom really helps that out. Female Doom has actually been not so hot. Um, I don't know. Like she just doesn't work as well as I wished she did. Um, Male Fulgur has definitely dropped off of my radar. Um, I honestly think for a minute the stun meta was a thing with people trying to neutralize female Devala. But I think there's just better ways to neutralize female Devala, so I don't feel like his stun is that great. Um, his ultimate is inconsistent at best as far as what targets it hits, and that shield just really does nothing. Yeah, so what? It saves you from one skill attack. Big whoop de dee. Like it's not really that important. It's the same with female Fulgur. Like she has the Electra Snowball, but it doesn't really do much. It does some damage, but ultimately, like she just doesn't offer anything besides that. Male Alliance Stone, on the other hand, if you have him, build him, put vigor on him, put brutal on him, and then just you know watch your team never die. Like his shields are just that good. We kind of got away from him because running too many tanks in the game isn't a good thing, and I still don't think you should really run too many tanks. But if you build him right and you build his strength and you really kind of max him out, if you can min max him, those shields just never break. Um, Female Lion Stone, on the other hand, like I think she's starting to just hold people back. Um, for so long, we relied on her buff, and it can still kind of work early game, but with things like Vigor and there's other champions that are buffing other teammates. There's other, champions are buffing themselves. Like you just kind of don't need her anymore. And if you use, like, she was always a buff bot. Like the rest of her kit is garbage. It always has been garbage. And now that we don't really need the buff bot, and you know, I don't feel like she's that good. Male Badger. I'm just gonna put him mid tier. His ultimate hits pretty hard, but ultimately it's just single target, and that's the problem. The female Badger, however, I love the female Badger. I know in some past tier lists, you guys have seen me, kind of allude to this and make whispers of it. Dude, just build her and put a lot of vigor on her, and watch her just evaporate the board. It's really kind of fun and insane when you see what I mean. We all know the Badgers are garbage, right? But when you put some strength on her, she can really carry a team there. Um, Tide is just really bad now. I'll put him in C tier. I'm not gonna quite put him in the worst tier, but he's just really bad now. He has lost synergy with so many things. His main synergy really was always just Ugrel. Um, so he's just not it anymore, I don't think. Um, One of the strongest stats, one of the most underlooked stats, I think, in the game is dodge. It's really kind of the one true counter in the game. Like, because if you trigger dodge, it doesn't matter how strong the attack is because it does no damage. Well, one skill that does that is female Tide's blind. And when she blinds people, like you get constant dodge. And for a long time now, I have kind of overlooked that part of her kit. I've always said she's just kind of been a damage bot, and there's people that do damage better than her, and there are. But with some of the meta that I've been playing with, as far as like trying to group up people on the same place, like her knockback on her ultimate works really well to kind of push any stragglers back into the group there. So we can do some of like those, you know, it's an AoE, but it's a very, like male Zace's ultimate, male Ignis's ultimate, kind of a very narrow spot for AoEs. Very small spot of the board. It's not like some of the other AoEs that hit the whole board, but when you can build that kind of meta or that kind of comp together, it works out really well. Griffin, I'm gonna put him right under Doom. These two are almost identical. They both have the knockback. I just think Doom's ultimate kind of puts him up over the top. Female Griffin, I'm gonna put right below male Griffin. I've been using her a lot. The one thing that I feel like holds her back is that her ultimate seems to be short. When it hits like a truck, but she seems to miss with it a lot. But when it lands, ooh, watch out. All right. Male Lycan. And this is going to sound crazy, right? But I think right now he's one of the best champions in the game that we just ignore. When you read, and this is one of those things I was talking about with like Lionstone, like he does this self buff, this like 500% buff. And I have found like if you build him up, you build up his levels, you throw some vigor on him, that 500% buff that he does is insane, and he will just annihilate the back line. And when you get him really high in vigor, like, you know, other teams can't kill him, so he's constantly fearing them. So vigor is really kind of a key to a lot of this. I've told you guys for a long time that female wolf was really good. Her armor shred, her health, her healing shred, her strength shred, like her just the debuff, and she has the wolves that are the only kind of summons that just don't die and fizzle out. Like really strong, really underlooked. Um, Male loom, like he's super. Like I almost want to put him in S tier or double S, but I feel like it's more appropriate for him to be an S. Like his heal is a really strong heal. It doesn't happen enough, which is kind of what holds him back. But you also like you don't play him for the heal. And now with the new trait in the game from the parade, the tardiness that's going to be constantly applying attack slow, the cleanse from his heal is game changing. Like it's going to be the new meta. Like you're gonna have to run male loom because of tardiness once people catch on to tardiness. Female loom, on the other hand, I'm just gonna put her B tier. Like she can kind of fit in with anybody. She's kind of a buff bot. Um, you really only play her for the ultimate. None of the other skills are worthwhile. All right, so for the longest time, I underestimated this guy. It was because he only hit 3 targets, and I always said, well, why would I only hit 3 if I could hit 5? He hits really hard, and his active hits really hard. So I'm putting him up there in the triple S slot, and I'm moving the female up into the S slot. Like, with these new runes and some of the ways that you can stack defense, like she almost can become unkillable. So it's really been fun to play with. Male Nas, he's just kind of so there on the Warriors. I like his disrupt, but other than that, not a whole lot. Female Nas, we're putting up in the triple S tier. Her ability to break shields with all of the shield meta going on with male Lionstone, with Steadfast, even though Steadfast apparently took a nerf or didn't take a nerf, I think people are still going to figure out that Steadfast is pretty decent and still keep running it. Her ability to just evaporate the shields is second to none. Okay. With some of the new assassins and some of the new play styles, um, some of the knockback stuff like this, female Strixbane with her instant get to the back line attack, really strong. Male Strixbane, if you've been sleeping on him, like he is kind of um, he's like Davala in the rough a little bit there, at least like the old Davala. His ultimate kind of works a little bit different than hers if you really dig into it and see, what's going on. Obviously, he doesn't have the immunity the same way she does that saves her from dying, but his works a little bit better and it hits a little bit harder. So give them a try. See what try it. Just trust me. Try it. I know some of you are screaming at the screen right now. I know you really are. Um, you know, she like Female, I'm sorry, like, and I know this is easily the biggest controversy right now, and people are probably looking at the screen going, "All right, now you're just capping." But with the introduction of Phoenix, Davala is useless. The only thing that made Davala good was the fact that she could live through ridiculous amounts of damage and then just heal herself. Now with executing the game, she's completely useless. She does nothing well if she can't have her immunity. And now with the execute in the game, like I'm gonna be the first one to say it here. Like she's just bottom tier. She's just not good anymore. Um, so yeah, male Deval on the other hand, he works really well with some of the new meta that's going on. Again, clustering people up. He has that what do they call it? The Coliseum of Blood or something like that that he puts down. So, kind of hits the same areas that like male Ignis does, male Zace does. It's not quite as reliable as theirs because they project it as where his is, he just kind of jumps up, but it also helps with like energy comps if you're running them. So like he has a few places that you can play him. Um, yeah, I know. Nobody is liking this tier list right now. It's different. I get it. Um, but hey, we're gonna be trailblazers, and I'm gonna be the first one to tell you that what you know about this game has completely changed, even though nobody is realizing it yet, and even though it is so hard to change your comp and change your meta. Just remember, when it happens, you heard it here first. Okay. Um, Female White Eye, definitely putting up here. Her heal is the best heal in the game, and on top of it, she has buffs. Like you just can't really get away from female White Eye. Male White Eye, on the other hand, is just kind of meh. He does some buffs, but it's not really that good. It doesn't feel that impactful, and his totem is completely useless. I'm not even sure. Like I know it stuns, but I'm not sure it stuns. Like I've seen it stun, but it doesn't feel like it stuns, and it takes like such a precise time to actually do something. Um, so male cow, much in the like I think he's a little bit less than male Karg, but they're very similar and kind of for the same reasons that I gave for Karg. I'm gonna put him. Female cow on the other hand, I just hate her. Like her stuns are just they're kind of pointless. Like I said, the stun meta I feel fell off really quick. Um, and it's just not necessary anymore. Like the stun meta had a place when Devala was relevant, but she's just not relevant anymore. Um, Female Fox, I'm putting here in the mid tier. Like she's decent, she does good damage, um, but that's kind of it. I don't like her kit quite as much. Like these are probably the two best quote unquote assassins in the game, but I don't like her kit quite as much as female Yiv. Male Fox, on the other hand, is bonkers. I'm gonna keep him just out of the top tier there though, but I'm gonna put him in that next tier under. He's like his swapping is so disruptive. Um, at first, it felt a little gimmicky, but when you play it right and if you give it some chance, give it some time, and you actually watch what's happening, like it causes a lot of disruption and missed abilities and stuff like that. Plus, his ultimate is insanity when it comes to the amount, the kind of damage he does. So build up some of these characters and try some of this out. Male Goldtongue, he's just kind of mid tier for me. He doesn't do much. He I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it does a whole lot to me. Um, Female and Goldtongue, like I did like her at one point. I don't like her now. She feels like a contradiction on herself. Um, she steals their energy, but then she gives it right back to them because she does a whole bunch of damage. All right, female Snake. I had it wrong on her. I'm not like I thought she was really bad. She's not really bad. She's not super good either. So just gonna put her in the S tier here. just do yourself a favor and read through the kit and all of the stuff that she does, and you'll understand why. Like, that's a long list of all the things that she does. Um, Male snake there might be top 3 in the game right now. Like, at first I didn't like the I'm gonna pull you and then I'm gonna hit you away. But with this new kind of approach I've been taking where we can kind of group everybody together, like he pulls everybody in so they're grouped together and then he knocks them back to get knocked back with some of the other stuff like the male Doom, the male Griffin, they kind of do that. The male Sally knocks people back. So they kind of match each other from that sense. So that works out. Male Samir, I'm gonna put up here. Again, he's one of the better ones at kind of clumping all of this in, as where female Samir, she like I used to like her silence, but ultimately I just don't think it does enough. She might be one of the worst champions in the game. Uh, Same with Bloodstorm. Like, I'm not gonna put her that low, but she's not that good either. Like, I have her souped up with vigor that I now regret. I wish I could get it back. She's not that strong, especially now that Phoenix is out. Like, it makes Bloodstorm makes us all feel like we wasted a bunch of glory when we could have just be giving it to Phoenix. Male Tree. Um, I really like his kit. I'm gonna keep him there in the mid tier. I like how he's a protector and kind of dashes over and protects somebody in the beginning. Female tree, on the other hand, like I wish she was as good as the actual tree that you have to fight in Eye of the Abyss. Her stuff just isn't that good. I'm sorry. Male bug. So you guys saw that I put a video out on him. I've been kind of using him a lot. He Where he falls off is that his clones don't take on the stats or on the traits and the effects as well. If they could, like if you could push out some more stuns, some more silences with those clones, he would be S tier all day long, but I just don't think he's that good. Female bug is my new most useless hero ever. And Phoenix, outside of female Devala, really has no purpose in the game because she has moved female Devala into that bottom tier there. I'm gonna give her the respect of putting her in the B tier here, but other than that, like I just don't think Phoenix has it. Like I just don't think she is that good. She's better than Bloodstorm. Don't get me wrong. Like I would put Bloodstorm behind her. We wish we all had the glory from Bloodstorm back to put into Phoenix. Um, but outside of female Devala, Phoenix just doesn't get it done. All right. So that's my tier list. That's my most recent tier list. I know there's going to be a lot of arguments because this is way outside the norm. Um, so let me know in the comments below if you realize it's April Fool's Day. Like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend. I'm Belligerent. Peace.